Power 93.7 WBLK, the People's Station. I'm Yasmin Young. This is the 2 to 6 takeover. And of course, we are getting ready for back to school. And that's not only elementary, middle, and high school, that's college as well. And I have the honor of having the new president of SUNY Erie Community College here, aka ECC, Dr. Dan Hocoy.
That's right. Yeah, great to be here, Yasmin.
So this is actually kind of somewhat of a return home for you.
That's right. It is a homecoming.
Toronto.
Yeah. So I grew up in Toronto, but we grew up with Buffalo TV and Commander Tom and Irv Weinstein, and have a lot of friends in Western New York and Rochester. And yeah, it's great to be back.
Well, it's great to have you here because I know a lot of your students are listening right now, and this gives them an opportunity to kind of get to know you and,
awesome.
You know, some of the things that you really, want to do this year. One of the things that I want to ask you about is why do you believe in Western New York, in, the SUNY system?
Yeah, well, I think the people in Western New York are tough. They're resilient. They bounce back, whether it be from, 4 Super Bowl losses or the loss of a steel industry, or waking up to 5 feet of snow. Right. People are tough here. They bounce back. They remove the snow and they get to work. And so
it may take all day, but we remove that snow.
Exactly. And I think people are recognizing that. So we have employers coming here, partners with us like Elon Musk. He's investing in the Buffalo region with Solar City, and we have a partnership with them. Andrew Cuomo and the Buffalo Billion. We have on our own board Dennis Murphy, who's investing in the people of Buffalo. And so people recognize that the people of Western New York are tough, and it's about time. Things are happening. There's a renaissance, and I am so glad that ECC is both participating in, benefiting from, and contributing to the Renaissance.
So what is your vision for the faculty, for the staff, for the students at ECC, and where you want to see it go in the future?
I'd like to see a new ECC in some ways, where we focus on students first. And we're doing that in a variety of ways. Let me give you one example. We have... It's one of our challenges is retention. Community colleges have an issue with retention across the board, but we actually, I think, come in worse than others in terms of 1 year, 2, 3 year metrics. And my idea is that we are responsible for anyone who walks in that door, and we're open access, so we understand the challenges of that. So I'm implementing something called imprinting. And the term comes from this Nobel Prize winner, Konrad Lorenz, and there's black and white film footage of him walking around the farm in rubber boots, and there's a dozen young ducklings following him around. And so imprinting was a term he came up with to describe what happens when you meet these young ducklings at this critical developmental period. And if a human being bonds with that duckling early enough in their life cycle, that duckling treats that person as if he or she is their mother and will walk around following that person. And so we're doing the same thing with high touch from faculty and staff with students coming in this fall, so that they, during their critical developmental period, can be exposed to this nurturance. And the idea is that they create an emotional bond with students, and so that will help in terms of encouraging students to seek helping behavior when they need help, when they stumble. And it also helps them to tolerate some of the ups and downs, some of the challenges in their first year of college. So I've implemented this program where there's high touch and high tech for retaining students, because I feel we're responsible for their success.
And this is kind of personal for you because you are the only person or the first person in your family to go beyond high school. So you really know how important education is. And
absolutely. Yeah. I just went back to Toronto on the weekend, and I went to my grade school, and they tore it down. It's now condos, but I remember going to school, well, one, without English,
right,
and having to hand gesture to let people know I had to go to the bathroom. And the same thing with college. I mean, there was no one to mentor me in my family. And so I identify with many of our students, many of whom are first-time college students coming from a situation where both their parents are working multiple jobs, as mine did, and might be dealing with some of the same language barriers, right, that I had. So, no, this is very personal for me. And that's why it's a personal commitment of mine to make sure that these students are successful.
And I think that resonates, and for the students, that's reassuring to know that the person at the top who's in charge of everything and everything trickles down has been in your shoes, right, and knows what you're going through. And I think that really is a deep connection that students look for.
I hope so. I hope they see that I'm around. I'm going to be introducing myself to them. I'm going to be introducing myself to high school students around the campus. I just had a couple great sessions with our Men of Merit, African American students in local high schools that are brought on campus to show them and have them set their eyes on the prize.
Absolutely.
In terms of college. We have a Dress for Success. We have a barbershop series where people can kind of share what's on their mind with what, and it's a pivot institution. I think it makes a difference for so many people. So, and we're going to want to hear from students in terms of surveys, anonymous surveys, and then they'll have a direct email access to me, eccpres@ecc.com or .edu. And so I want to hear what students are experiencing so we can address their needs.
And speaking of students, August right now is a great time to register for fall semester. Now, you all have 2 open enrollment or open registration days coming up, Monday and Tuesday, August 28th and 29th at all 3 campuses. That's from right. 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So there's basically no excuse.
There is no excuse. And if you can't make those dates, fall classes start on September the 5th, and students could just show up with some piece of ID and their copy of their GED, and we're good to go. We'll help them with their financial aid, helping them apply and register. So just come on down.
And that is so important. That's great for those people who may be working themselves and trying to figure out how to take that next step into making sure that they can take advantage of some of the technologies and opportunities that are coming here to Western New York that are going to require them to have that education beyond high school.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up technology because higher ed is different now. Before there was the sage on the stage and people in rows, right, and there's a chalkboard. People learn differently, and a lot of it is mediated by technology. Where I was before, I created courses that use Facebook as the learning management system, as well as for student support. And so it was also creating some savings too. So, we had one advisor on a Facebook forum, and students would ask, questions about advisement or financial aid. And often other students would respond.
Right.
And so, there was peer support. You have a cohort and they create relationships with one another as well. And it's a cost savings for us as a college.
Well, and most of us can't get off Facebook anyway.
That's right. So that's right. You might as well.
Meet us on Facebook.
Well, that was my idea, was I had to think about some way where students would get credit for hanging out on Facebook.
Right. If only they did that when I was in school. I'd have had a 4.0.
You can come back, Yasmin. You can come back.
I have actually thought about it. So you might have lit that little bit of fire that I've been thinking about in my head, because I do believe in, even if you've gotten your education and, technically gotten your education, maybe you have a bachelor's, master's, doctorate, you should always stay educating yourself because things change.
Things change.
Things change very quickly nowadays.
And Western New York is changing. So, we have degrees in nanotechnology, in advanced manufacturing and mechatronics. And it's a different age. We're creating solar panels now.
Right.
And so it's a totally new skill set. And so people who are interested in a career change, I'm sure we have something that might attract them.
Well, Dr. Hocoy, I appreciate you coming here and talking to your students. And we do have all of this information on our website, WBLK.com, so you can get a link to ECC's website. You can get more information. That way it'll be easy for you. Thank you so much. And don't forget those dates, Monday and Tuesday, 28th and 29th, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., all three campuses, open registration. Or show up on the 5th, bring your ID, your GED, and they'll get you started from there.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. It's been a pleasure.